So this is old news now, but it still feels current. I still feel that it represents that the Canadian people are not in charge. We don't have a say at all. The politicians are in another world. They aren't on our side. They're supposed to represent us. But the majority of people do not want mass immigration. We do not want them to get another pay raise because they get one every single year. And they're now making an insane amount of money. They're making like their salaries are the top of the country. And for what? When this guy stood up to say that, you know what, I don't want to be a hypocrite. He's like, I don't want to accept a pay raise when everyone else is struggling. We're going to stand up in Parliament. He says other conservatives are hypocritical. I didn't ask the rest of the caucus to give the money back, but maybe they should. It's pretty rich and hypocritical to get up on the floor of the House of Commons and talk about the cost of living, then criticize me for wanting to give my money back. And that's exactly it. How can you stand up and say everyone is struggling? Everyone can't afford to live, but they will accept more money from the taxpayer? Because they don't care about you. They don't care about the taxpayers, the people who vote for them. They don't care about us. Otherwise, they would all refuse this pay raise. Only one of them did. And when he did, he was criticized for it. He was heckled. Like children heckling someone in a classroom. The immaturity is not surprising, but it really shows that they do not care about us. Otherwise, they would all stand together and say that, yes, you're right, we already make enough money. We're already millionaires. I guess we don't need another house. We don't need another Bentley or BMW. Maybe we can keep that money in the Canadians' bank accounts so they can afford to live. So I sent this letter to my local MP here. He's a conservative. And I said, I was surprised to see a conservative MP actually refuse the pay raise. And I said, good on Mike Davison. I remember asking you 2 years ago how you felt about getting a pay raise. You said you felt terrible. You said you felt terrible about it. Because I asked him in person. I said, this was right before the pay raise was going to come out 2 years ago. And I said, I'm like, how do you feel about it? Because it was the same date that the carbon tax was set to increase. And I'm like, how do you feel getting a pay raise the same day the carbon tax is set to increase? And he says, oh, I feel terrible about it, blah, blah, blah. And well, he's accepted 2 pay raises since. And now he has an even newer position. So he's probably making upwards of $300,000 a year. $300,000 a year. And that's just a guess. It could be more, it could be less. So I asked him, will you finally stand by your word and turn down the pay raise? And this was his response. Not a week later, but literally a day later. I was surprised by such a quick response, but I'm sure they've been getting many of the same letters from other of his constituents. So that's why he said, "Oh well, I'll just make up a draft and we'll just send it to everyone." So he said, "Good morning." So he said, "Thanks for writing to me on this pay raise issue. The MP asked to refuse it, and he can't. and has been told as such. There's no mechanism to refuse. Instead of informing himself and taking the path I am taking, which is to donate the pay raise to charities and charitable causes, he chose to showboat with an empty gesture, which a few minutes of asking around he would have been told he cannot do. Only the federal government can move a spending motion to reduce or stop the pay raise. Now let me stop that there, because he just said only the federal government does. Well, who are you? Who are you? You are the federal government. So what do you mean? Well, only the federal government can. Well, you're the federal government. So they choose so So they chose not to do so in the budget 2025. I should add here that the entire public service gets an automatic pay raise on April 1st. Okay, good. I guess we can stop those as well. I'd be down for that. Like I have done in years past, I'm donating my pay increase to charitable causes. My first donation will be going directly to the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, blah, blah, blah. So my response was, well, I'm disappointed to learn that you will not push for this pay raise to be removed. As the Canadian Taxpayer Federation has mentioned, you will get a bigger pension with that pay raise, so you will come out on top. Not to mention that charity donations are tax deductible. So I called them out on that. And I sent this letter the same day. And I have still not gotten a response, and it's been almost a month. So I say that I guess he's never going to respond to that, because what I said is true, and he is coming out better because of it. So I just mentioned, a personal thing. I was told the same thing by my bank. Oh, we can't refund this money that is supposed to be yours because the system automatically deducted it. So I pushed the issue, and guess what? I got a reverse. Why can't this issue be pushed by the Conservative Party? With the tone of your email, you seem unhappy with the other MPs for even attempting to do it. If you look at my recent letter, I stated that the Conservatives' new motto should be bold. I don't want to hear can't be done, because that just means you haven't even tried. I was hoping the Conservative Party would add that to their platform about halting the pay raises before the election, but I was disappointed. As soon as I can finally praise the Conservative Party, I get the door shut on me as soon as I finally do. Now, the be bold part is another email I sent that I could make another video on. But I sent an email recently that, the Conservative Party should be bold. I forget the rest of it, but I said, they should be different. They should be better. They have every position to do so. They have nothing to lose because they've lost 4 elections in a row. They had actually grown a lot of momentum in the last election because they chose to at least kind of be bold. They kind of, started putting these policies out that would be better. But ever since the election, they've gone farther away. They're like, no, actually, we need to be more like the Liberals again. I think you've lost the plot, because people didn't vote for you to be more like the Liberals. People voted for you to be something different, and you are not being something different. There's no opposition. All of you are just a waste of money and a waste of time. I don't even know why I try. I feel like I'm just wasting emails sending it to them, because it doesn't matter what I say. They argue. If I do get a response, they argue with me and say, well, this is why you're wrong, or this is why it can't be done, or it's like they're always fighting me, even though I voted for them, and most of the people that did vote for them would agree with me. And there's a lot of silent people that do not vote because they don't believe there's any point, because there's no difference. And I think they have a point. Why would I vote for you today if you're not going to actually be different? What is the point? I see all these, I see posts here and there saying they're like, oh, an election might be coming, an election. Why? I don't care. And nothing would change. Even if the Conservatives somehow got in, which they're not going to do, they're going to lose an even bigger loss, because they've proven not to change. They've proven not to be bold. They should be bold. Be revolutionary. Be the opposition. Be anything other than the same as the other party, but in blue. And the people who just refuse to see reality and they think, no, well, they'd have to be like this so they can get in. Well, they haven't gotten in 4 times in a row, so when are they gonna get in? They've tried to, well, we'll just be a progressive party. They tried it and it hasn't worked. They actually got quite a bit of votes when they were more bold. Maybe they should be even more bold then, instead of being less bold and, oh, well, then maybe they'll vote for us. Because I guarantee you, a lot of people aren't going to vote for the same party as the other party. They're not, like, what is the point? The people who actually thought that things would change, well, it didn't change. And then you're just like, well, I guess we'll just go back on things and we'll just be like the other party and maybe then we'll get voted in and then things will get better. Well, it hasn't. And it won't. You're going to lose an even bigger loss this time around. And I'm not going to vote for you. Unless you choose to be bold. Be different. Not just be the same and not argue with me about how to help this country because this country has just gotten worse and worse and worse. So maybe you gotta try something different because people are dying on our streets and nothing is being done about it, and you're not doing enough to say what needs to be done. Because if you did, people would see that and say, wow, maybe he's right, and we should vote for this guy instead of, well, like that's never going to happen. We're never going to get a conservative government in this country ever again because it's the same. I don't see anything different. And I'm not going to try to defend a party that won't even defend my views at all. Not at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't really get much views, but if you're still here, let me know in the comments. I will never, like, if I ever did take off in this space, in this online space, I would never conform to any party. Like, that's, like, if somehow some party actually finally had enough of my views, I would say vote for them. But at this current time, I am unrepresented in my country, along with a lot of other people. Some silent, that they will not vote because there's nothing being done about the trans issue. Like, there was a lot of things going on with, what happened at the school in Tumbler Ridge. Nothing. What came from the Conservative Party was exactly from the Liberal Party. Just, oh, we're so sorry, and oh, it's so sad, it's heartbreaking, it's a tragedy. It's any buzzword that you try to make it, and that doesn't solve the issue. You got to call out what the actual issue is, which that they are mentally ill, and this shouldn't be reinforced. We should be making it illegal to teach this in our schools, especially. Because at the very least, we shouldn't be teaching it. The public school system shouldn't be teaching it to people, to our children. Because this is what is happening. And instead of calling it out, it means it's going to happen again. And the next time, what are you going to say this time? Are you going to be bold? Are you going to finally do what's right? Are you going to say what the actual issue is? Or are you just going to say, wow, this is heartbreaking, this is sad? Yes, it is. But you have 4 million people or 8 million people or however many people that voted for you to be the opposition, but you're not being the opposition. You're not being bold, which I think you should be. So to the people who want to tell me that, I'm just a liberal, or you're not helping, like they can't do anything about it because they're not the party in power. Do you really expect the Liberal Party to do something about this issue when they have been the one celebrating the trans movement this whole time? Do you think they're really gonna suddenly go, oh, actually, we were wrong? The only party that could actually say something is the Conservative Party, but they choose not to do it because it would be bad for publicity. But there's a lot of people who would see that and say, wow, you're right, and they would vote for you. But you listen to the small fringe people who the far left, that's all you listen to. The people who were never, they will never ever vote for you. You're listening to those people. But the people who would actually be like, wow, finally someone is saying it, but you won't even say it. When will you say it? When there's another one? When there's a third one? A fourth one? How many? Like, when will you? Or will you ever? I don't think you ever will, so I cannot vote for you. I have no representation. And this federal government is a traitor to our own people. Like, we deserve better. We deserve people who represent us, or at least want what's best for us. Like, we deserve Mike Dawson 343 times. Not 1 out of 343. Because, unless I'm mistaken, I think he's the only one that has stood up and said, I do not want this pay raise. Even though the Conservative Party says, well, you know, there's no mechanism to decline it anyway, so it's just like... You're insane. You're just like, well, you know, because the legislation, they're the ones who make the legislation. Imagine if every single Conservative MP said we're not going to accept this pay raise and we're going to put this motion forward, and then all the other parties vote against that. Imagine that. People would be like, whoa, wow, the Conservative Party actually cares about the people. But instead, only one of them stood up and said it. So one of them is bold. One of you is bold. And he should be the leader of the Conservative Party. So yeah, have that with you what you will. So take care, guys. Long live Canada. And peace be with you all. I love you all. This country is worth fighting for. So, you know, the people who have stayed in this country and actually want change and want us to be a better country and to actually save the people in our streets, the people who are dying from overdoses and taking their own lives. Like, if we can actually do something about it, that would actually mean something, and people would be able to live instead of the opposite. So hopefully that can... Hopefully we can have change sometime. Have an actual opposition party. Have a party that actually cares about our people. I pray for that someday. But until then, we don't have representation. See ya. Motherfucking testing.